joined by USD volleyball coach Leanne Williamson. And Leanne, it's been a while since I've got a chance to sit down with you, so I'm excited for that. But first off, good news for you, fresh off a contract extension. It seems like that's kind of becoming an annual thing for you at this point.
Maybe every couple of years, but yeah, obviously very excited to continue to be here leading this program. It's a place I love. It's a community that I love. My family is happy here. And, more than anything, volleyball is supported here. And that's something that is extremely exciting for us as coaches, as a team. And it's something that I want to continue to be a part of.
As you look at what you've built here or continued to build here. Obviously, Matt Houck did a great job in his own right, and you kind of took that and pushed it even further along. How would you describe what this program has become in your 11, going on 12 years now as the head coach?
I mean, I just feel like in a lot of ways, maybe some of those goals that we used to reach for are now more of the expectations, of being able to compete for a championship every single season, whether it's the regular season or the conference championship or both. But I think on the flip side of that is doing things the right way. We very much live by the motto, culture of success, which means being the best version of yourself in every area of your life. So yes, we're winning championships, but they're doing great in the classroom. They've led the department. I think it was 5 years straight, with the highest GPA, and the community service that they're doing and the work, just the relationships that they're building outside of this place too is extremely meaningful. And it's something that we want this program to continue to be known for. And it's something that we're going to keep striving for.
Well, you mentioned the championships, and obviously that's the ultimate measure for any coach is how competitive are we year in and year out. And fresh off another Summit League tournament title last year as the 3 seed. So you went in and weren't necessarily the team that was expected to win that, but lo and behold, the Coyotes came out on top. So take me back to that experience and doing it the way you had to do it this most recent time.
First of all, it feels like forever ago at this point. I think the season was a lot about growth, and we knew at the beginning of the year that we were going to be very different at the end of the season than where we began. But I think it was a little bit abnormal, maybe where we felt like we were kind of hitting our stride in preseason. And then we did kind of take a little bit of a step back during conference. And I think some of that you could chalk up to youth, and experience a little bit. But the great thing about it, the team never stopped believing. They never stopped learning. They never stopped buying in. And even, end of the regular season, we had the 3-game skid, where we lost 3 in a row, including one on our home floor. And that could have easily sent a lot of teams, over the edge. And for us, the team got together the next night. They had Friendsgiving together and got back to work, 2 days later. And again, we knew that we were good enough to win. Our team knew that we were good enough to win. And I just think that with every single match, we just got a little bit more confident. We played extremely well against Kansas City, kind of shocked Omaha a little bit in 3 there. And then, getting into that championship game, I'm sure there were nerves, but they just looked so confident. It was probably the most confident they had seemed, especially after errors or when things didn't go our way, because in a 5-set match, there's things that definitely didn't go our way. So, again, I remember a lot of it like it was yesterday, even though it feels like forever ago, but it was really a testament to just the team buying in and understanding that we could continue to grow, continue to learn, all the way up until the end of the season.
Well, you talked a little bit about, kind of growing through some of the youth that you had last year, but a couple of those young players were real standouts for you, and were kind of all league type players right away as freshmen. And that's a really great sign, obviously. And your defensive player of the year in Cameron Ferris, she's back as well. So talk about this team and how you can continue to build on what has been achieved, not just last year, but for so many years in front of it.
Yeah, it's interesting because we felt like we were young last year, but we're still just as young this next year. If we look at kind of the makeup of our underclassmen to our upperclassmen, we only have the one senior in Cameron. But I think just going forward, obviously, like you said, some of those freshmen had a lot of experience, and both in-game experience, but then a spring season where they got to train, they got to develop, they got to work through things, failure in a lot of ways, without having to worry about the outcome of matches. And I'm really excited to see what some of those players are going to be able to do. But we also have a very strong incoming class coming in, So we had a setter graduated early and joined us in the spring. So she's had a semester of training with us already. And then 4 more very, very good volleyball players that I think are going to push the level in the gym right away. So we've got some good returners. We have some really good freshmen coming in. I think it's just a really good recipe for success. But again, over the course of the season, not just right away, not just at the end, just that growth throughout the year is what we're looking for.
Lastly, just as you look at the Summit League and what a challenge that has become, it feels like volleyball in the Summit League is reaching levels we haven't seen in quite some time in terms of the parity. As you get deeper and deeper into the league, these teams are getting tougher, and it's getting harder to sustain the kind of success, that championship level you guys have enjoyed for such a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we first joined, I think it was usually the top 2 or 3 teams were kind of the ones to beat, and now I do think you have more of the league that anybody can beat anybody on any given night, and I think we've said that a lot, but really these last few years, I think you've seen it come to maybe more of a reality at times. But I think it's great for the league. I think it's great for obviously individual institutions, but it also puts us in a position to possibly be a 2-bid league more often, which we saw last year. With us upsetting SDSU and them getting their at-large bid into the tournament. And it's something that we've talked about as a league for years, but hadn't seen it happen more than one other time. And I believe that was the other time that we had upset the number 1 seed when Denver got their at-large bid. And it's good for us. It's something that we've wanted. It's something that we are working towards. And to see that kind of happening more consistently, to give us some of those more of those opportunities, I think is great for everybody.